on Twitter and Facebook. Just making sure I got all the connections here and make sure everything's working right. All right, seems like I need to be talking a little bit louder, but we will get there. I can hear myself, so that's always a good thing. And it looks like some of you can even do closed captioning. Hey, you can just read. Anyway, let's get started. Last check of, yep, last check of the SD card. Always make sure there's an SD card in your soundboard, or you'll end up recording nothing. Voice of experience. All right. Hey, Stoners, welcome to another edition of Sticks and Stones. I'm your host, Brent Elrod, coming to you from the cozy confines here on the patio at the No Shoes Bar and Grill, deep in the heart of the Republic of Texas. I have a great matchup today. If some of you saw my little unpackaging a few days ago, we got in a whole lot of Perdomo, and we're going to do our first one today out of that. I know I did one last week, but that was separate. So anyway, I am pairing the Perdomo 10-year champagne. I'm pairing it with Glenfodry Speyside French Oak Cask Single Malt Scotch. Now, I just stumbled upon it at Total Wine, and you'll be able to find a link to this spirit at Total Wine. Read the description on the podcast when it comes out later this week. Stumbled on to Glenfodry. It has Fionn Frangach. Maybe that's the way the Scottish people say it. I don't know. I'll go with Glenfodry because I can say that. And I looked it up. Had some decent reviews on it. I said, hey, we'll give it a try. I've only poured out one bottle in the entire almost 3 years I've been doing this. So anyway, I think it's going to be a great matchup. So right after this, we are going to pop the cork, cut the stick, and get to toasting. Now, the Perdomo 10-year reserve champagne, it is a 6x54 Epicure. The wrapper is Champaign, Connecticut. And it has a filler and binder from Nicaragua, and it is a kind of a mild to medium cigar. So it's really good for beginners, but it's also a really good kind of laid-back cigar for the more experienced hands. Now the champagne comes packaged, and I've already taken it off, thrown it away, in a yellow cellophane that does kind of bear a striking resemblance to some champagnes. But underneath, it is a beautiful wrapper that is just rolled to perfection. It features a really nice double cap, and it's really probably more synonymous with Dominican Republic than Nicaraguan, which the Nicaraguans have kind of embraced the triple cap. But this cigar has some nice weight to it. It's got a nice feel to it. It's not too soft. It's not too hard. There aren't any spots in it, some too hard, some too soft. And it appears to be very well packaged. Now, visually, it is a beautiful light tan. Those of you that are watching this live stream, you're getting to see it. Those of you that are now just listening to it on podcast, you should have been here for the live stream. It has visible seams, but they are very tight. It has very minimal veining. The veining it does have is fairly pronounced, but there's very little of it. And then, as mentioned, it has a double cap. Now, I don't get a lot on the nose off the wrapper. It's little light hints of a little earth and maybe a little leather, but you do get a much more pronounced nose off of the foot. And there I do get a little bit of sweetness, kind of like a molassesy kind of dark sweetness and a little more earth. It's not an overly aromatic, but it does have a nice soft aroma to it. Now let's give it a cut. I am using the C-Car V cutter. This is what I will use most of the time. If you watch this every week, you know I kind of stick with what works. Depending on the cigar, I might have to go to a punch or maybe a guillotine, but typically I just use my V cutter. Another really nice V cut there from C-Car. All right, cold draw. It's got a really nice, gentle draw to it. It doesn't seem to be overly easy. And since this is a mild to medium cigar, I'm not really too worried about smoking it too fast. But it's just a very, very nice, easy draw, and you get hints of molasses and caramel and just a kind of a touch of earthiness. I'm probably going to tell you at the end of this, pretty certain I am, because I stayed away from this cigar for some reason. Just did. I would look at it when I would wander through Cigars International at the Colony, but I never would pick it up. And when I tried that first Perdomo, I was like, all right, I've got to give them some more love. I've got to try it. I've got to try more than one. So we're going to do like a month of Perdomo. So now on to Glenfarclas Fianfranca. This is aged in French oak. It is a Speyside single malt. Now, Glenfarclas is it's not an actual distillery. They don't distill their own spirits, from what I've managed to find on them. They are owned by Grant and Sons, and it doesn't appear that they do any distilling. If you know something different, put it in the comments, because I'd love to know. I did a lot of research on this, trying to get ready for this. Instead, like quite a few other scotches, they buy their scotch from distillers, and then they do their own blending to create their expressions. Now, looking on Total Wine site, they have expressions up to 30 year and going up into the vicinity of $500. But this bottle is not that. This bottle is about $35 for the bottle. So very reasonable. Now, the mash is, of course, 100% malted barley. It is a 94.2 proof, 47.1% alcohol by volume, and it is a non-age statement. So if I remember my scotch right, somewhere in the 3+ years kind of thing. Now, visually, oh, wait a minute. It's got a cork. That was a good one. It looks beautiful in the bottle. It is probably one of the most beautiful scotches I think I've seen in a while. Hopefully it tastes as good as it looks. Give it a little swirl. It's a little weak on the cling. It's pretty thin. I mean, there is a little bit of cling there, but we'll see. So, but visually, it is just, as you can tell, it is just a beautiful, beautiful kind of light to bordering on medium golden color, kind of what you'd expect from something along the lines of Glenmorangie or Glenfiddich, something like that on the nose. And that's got a wonderful nose on it. I mean, I just barely took a sniff and had to make a comment. It's really full and rich. And I get notes of like baking spices and some light hints of vanilla. And I get a little bit of oak and typical of the Speyside. There's no smoke and no peat in it. I think this could turn out to be really good. So we're gonna try it on the palate. That is a very, very easy drinking 94.1 proof. I'm or 94.2. 94.2, yeah, 47.1, 94. I had to do, I can't be doing math right now. You do get a little bit of alcohol burn on it because it is up in the mid 90s. It's not much, and it fades away really quickly. And on the palate, you get kind of this rich apples and peaches, even though I'm not a peach fan. Peaches taste fuzzy. Uh, don't judge me. Peaches taste fuzzy. And you get the oak in there from the French oak, a little vanilla. And if you didn't know better, you would think you're drinking, you know, a 12-year-old Scotch. I mean, it is really, really good. I'm extremely surprised. I would expect for this taste, I would expect this to be closer up in the 50 to, you know, maybe even $60 a bottle range. I'm really amazed. And I'm sorry, it is a little windy here in Texas. So there may be lots of leaves and wind in the background. Sorry, I got my stuff up here to try and protect it, but you know, hey, but love Texas. Now the finish is just about perfect. It's long lasting, but not overpowering. There's not a lot of burn. There's kind of on your palate, even seconds after the you've already swallowed. There's still this kind of coating on the outsides of your tongue where you've got that kind of fruit tree, apple, pear kind of sweetness. And I'm not really, at least now, I'm not picking up any kind of real spice or black pepper or anything like that. That may come a little later when I start pairing it with the cigar. I'm not picking it up just on the spirit itself. So we'll see. But let's go ahead and try these together. What am I using to light this? Can anybody tell me? Rocky Patel Envoy 5 torch. The Envoy is sometimes available, sometimes not on Amazon, and but you can find a link to it on the Sticks-n-Stonez Amazon store, and also the other 5 torch they have, the Diplomat. I haven't used the Diplomat, but I'm a real fan of these 5 torches. It's a decent volume of smoke off of the stick. I'm getting some notes of caramel and maybe cashew. It's a nuttiness but it's not quite like a peanut. I think it's probably more along the lines of caramel. Doesn't kind of have the bite of almonds. There are some hints of black pepper, and then there's some earthiness. It's burning a little wavy, and I don't know. It could be my lighting skills. I have somehow managed to misplace my Cigarism single torch, and I'm missing it right now because it's so precise. I can really get those lines straight and make sure I did everything right. So, Cigarism, if you're listening, I need another one of those. All right, let's try these together. I really wish the smoke would hang in the glass a little better off of this stick. That's just kind of my thing. I don't think it really means anything, but I like it. Uh, Together, these seem to be going together really well. Um, Again, the stick is a mild to medium stick, and the spirit, while it is 94 proof, it's not like hard hitting. I mean, it's a very soft and subtle 94. I mean, they are going really well together. You've got the the notes of caramel and the notes of apple, so you're getting kind of a caramel apple-y vibe. Go to the fair. Um, and while the other notes there aren't really kind of like marrying together, they don't counteract one another or detract from one another. So you're really kind of concentrating on the kind of the caramels and the apples, peaches. I try to ignore the peaches. Yeah, say this is it's pretty good. I mean, that Perdomo is one of the premium brands out there. I mean, Nick Perdomo has done a really good job. And for the spirit to be a much lesser well known spirit, I think it's keeping up. So we're going to go ahead and burn this down to the halfway mark, and I will come back and give you an update. That was for the podcast folks. I'm staying here with you for right now. We'll keep it on for a little bit longer, and then we'll cut it off. This is where I'm just like sitting around BS and working this down to the half. I know you get a lot of people that they do the um, thirds, first third, second third, third third. Uh, I just break it in half and tell you what I think in the beginning, come in about halfway, and then hey, I'm back and we're at the end of this, and this is what I thought. I don't know. It just seems it's like there's too much break in there. It's got a nice little retro inhale to it that you're almost getting kind of a maybe kind of a lemony, citrusy, tart um, kind of flavor aroma. I don't really know how to say it about retro because it's coming through your nose. Uh, in the olfactory, not old factory, old factory. I am really, I guess I'd say, kind of embarrassed that I've waited so long to do this stick. This is a really good stick. I'm very, very impressed. Um, like I said, I'm not really sure why. I think it was just, I mean, the label is nice, but you go into, especially like you go into Cigar International, like in the Colony here in Texas, and I mean, it is literally the largest humidor I've ever been in my life, and you're just walking up and down these aisles with all these cigars, and you got all these bands popping out at you, and this does kind of blend in. It's very subtle and not obtrusive. Maybe using the word wrong, but I'm a country boy. Um, And so you just kind of overlooked it, but it's really good. I just saw the closed captioning on this where I'm watching it on my other phone that has no service. It's just up to the Wi-Fi, and it said it's not intrusive. That's not right. Obtrusive. Now I gotta wait for it. And it's intrusive, not obtrusive. There, it got it right that time. I'll be watching. I try to keep the closed captioning off, but on the TVs, but sometimes it'll be on, and I'll be like, "Are they letting a monkey from the zoo type this stuff up? Because that is nothing like what that person said." There'll be misspelled words, all kinds of stuff. You're like, really? That is a really, really good smoke. Now, and I say it's really good. It is really good. Thinking about it compared to other cigars, I mean, I don't, this particular stick, I don't know if I would put it in my top 10. Um, I've still got several others to try that just from looking at them, I think I will probably, uh, like really enjoy those. But this is a really good stick, and like I said, it's very mild. It is actually burning fairly quick, uh, but it does not. It's not overpowering. Well, it's got an easy draw. It's not over easy. You're not going to smoke it too fast. Uh, I mean, it's just a nice, cool cigar to hang out with. Yeah, and there's a little bit of just a hint of black pepper on the end of the retro. All right. Well, I gotta get on with this. So I am going to say so long to all of you, and you can pick up the my halfway and final thoughts when the podcast comes out in a few days. Keep your sticks dry, your stones cold, and have a great day.